Welcome to the Orana podcast, a show about what you will find, what you will not find in the Cook Islands. And now here's your host, Chantal Napa.
Orana, kia koto kātoto, nō ne ia mātou I Rarotonga nei, ko te ko Chantal Napa, no te kuki ai rani mai. Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Orana podcast, a show about what you will find and will not find in the Cook Islands. Our guest today is Rashneel Kumar. He works at our newspaper and he's our editor there. I first met Rashneel in 2020. Was it Rashneel when you interviewed me for the podcast?
I think it was probably, 2019, 2020.
Because we started the podcast in 2020 May.
Yeah.
And then I went to the newspaper, and at the time, Jonathan Milne was the editor, and you are now. And then Jonathan Milne sent you to me, and you interviewed me, and you had Hayden Adams on the camera in America. And you were asking, you broke the story about the Orana podcast in the Cook Islands.
Yeah, I think it was a privilege for me to do it. Something that probably was kind of like we were doing more of what people are going to do after the pandemic. And you were probably one of those pioneers that came up with something different, to still keep the visitors connected. So I guess it was something that we were so interested in doing. And fortunately, you came to us, and I was so fortunate that Jonathan assigned me that story, and here we are.
And I mean, you sat with Hayden and I. When I say Hayden and I, he was virtually with us.
Yes. Yeah.
And you asked us our questions, and then you wrote up the release story for the Orana podcast. And back then, we didn't have a podcast channel coming out of the Cooks, which is what you found so awesome.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And you personally listened to podcasts yourself, but you didn't know a lot of people in the Cook Islands at the time who did.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting because when I came back to the newsroom and sort of started discussing that, I said, hey, this is an interesting product from someone who totally relied on visitors, obviously for business to venture into. And it's a space that actually is going to increasingly become quite famous or quite, well-known platform, especially in pandemic times, where people will stay home. And this would be probably a way of, getting connected to the other places they can't visit due to COVID. So, and then the others in the newsroom was like, yeah, it's a cool thing, like we still listen to it. It's kind of like radio, but in online, and that's how I see it. And when radio become at a point where radio became boring and people were watching YouTube and, Facebook videos and stuff, podcast came into the space with more a dynamic way of actually delivering information and a way of transmitting information. And I thought that was a great idea. And it was actually, to be honest, quite inspiring
at the time.
It's a concept for for you to come into this space, and with the help of Aiden, obviously you managed to pull through. So I think I'm pretty sure it has been maybe a really exciting journey for you too, in the past 2.5 years.
Yeah, and when I came back to you recently and asked you if we could do a follow-up story, and then because now you're the editor, because then you weren't the editor at Cook Islands News.
And at that time I wasn't that stressed. I'm more stressed. Yeah.
Tell me about your stress. Tell me about your stress. Tell me.
Yeah, but look, it's I guess it's not an easy job. At a point when I get a position when Jonathan was about to leave. He's now the managing editor of Newsroom, which is New Zealand, one of the leading websites. He got a great job there. Big responsibility, and he sort of course, with the support from my publishers, John and Liz and Lawrence, who is a local partner here, who supported me and said, hey, one thing, we have faith in you and think that you can do the job. So it was a humble beginning for me, for someone who has been in the country for 5 years, and my journalism career hasn't been even 10 years when I took over the role. Quite a daunting task, to be honest, but I had a great team around me, and I think every day is a challenge for me in this space, and it's something that I wake up every day in the morning and I'm happy about it, and I'm willing to take it, and I think it only you are only as successful as your team. If your team is able to deliver, all you do is lead and guide them. And you get a product that you are happy with. And I hope our readers are happy with the product they get. We are doing our job as being the watchdog of the public, and also delivering news that matters to people. Yeah, so.
And you know that the Cook Islands News saying, "As solid as the islands we stand for."
Yeah.
I mean, that's been their motto.
Since for a while.
Yeah, that's been their motto. As solid as the islands we stand for. And that would be a big responsibility to be in charge of the print that represents 15 islands, 15 dialects across water, and you have an online system as well.
Exactly.
Which you guys spent a lot of time and energy in, the owners, and built the online system.
Yes.
And the being able to pay online for CI News.
Yeah, so it's a daunting task. It's challenging stuff being the only newspaper of Cook Islands. And I think we're a daily newspaper. We operate from Monday to Saturday.
Yeah, the only daily newspaper. Yeah.
So there's a lot of responsibility on us because there is a large majority of people that wake up in the morning or go and buy the paper and trust us to deliver news that is authentic, that is fair, and news that would help them shape their decisions, or whether it be about government or whether it be about policies or whatever it is. So it is huge responsibility on, I guess, the whole team, and I think the reporters understand that. The good thing about a place like Cook Islands is it's or Rarotonga for the matter, where we actually based. Newspaper. This place is not like other bigger places. This is more like a community. So we see ourselves not as a national newspaper. We see ourselves more as a community newspaper. And the drive has always been talking about people. It has always been about people's story. It has always been about culture. It has always about being a decision or policy that would affect people. And that is our drive every day. We want to be a community-focused newspaper. Many times we achieve that, and there are times we are not able to. There is always challenges on the way, but that's our goal eventually. And also coming back to online, I think just before the pandemic, when Jonathan was editor of the newspaper, together with John and Liz, the publishers, were based in Gisborne, New Zealand. They undertook a major project, which was revamping our website, trying to make it more sort of fresh and give it a look which is user friendly. And the drive was to obviously get into more digital, because that's where the world is moving now. So we took that undertaking with quite a substantial amount of investment pre-COVID, and then COVID hit. So and then we kept, because of all fairness, and we're trying to make sure that everybody's suffering, and we don't want to put the burden on our readers. We kept that channel open and free for quite a long time. I think about a year or two. Before we started, putting a small subscription of, I think, $11 a month and $130 a year. It's a energy, and it's a lot of energy we put on online, because we feel that if you look at the Cook Islands diaspora, that is about 80,000 in New Zealand. We've got about 20,000 in Australia. It's a big market out there, and there's a lot of people who are concerned, who want to know about what is happening to their country, what is happening to their families and friends. So we are driving a lot, and there's a subscription base where we charge a certain fee, or otherwise there are some stories that are free. Most of them are free. There are certain stories that you have to pay a certain fee to access, because of the resources we use, and the energy we put. There needs to be some sort of money to be compensated and used, so at least we can do it better. And that's the whole aim. If we earn something back from there, what we can do is improve, which means putting maybe more videos, putting more pictures, and getting more feature stories out on the platform for everybody else to enjoy. So yeah, energy and focus has been on digital platform, which is our online and our Facebook.
Let everyone know those Facebook names and and your website for the CI
so
News.
For Cook Islands, for the website is www.cookislandsnews, islands with the S, news with the S.com. And we have a Twitter page, we've got an Instagram page, Cook Islands News, and also a Facebook page, which has over 40,000 followers. So it does have a lot of footprint in terms of the reach out there. So the drive has always been to make it better, and I think we continue working on that.
I think this is good that you're the person being interviewed today, Rashneel.
I know,
Because you're usually doing the interviewing.
I think I love talking. I think it's wonderful to for change to be being interviewed, and I've been fortunate to actually have a couple of interviews for international agencies like RNZ or TVNZ and stuff during the pandemic and stuff. It's a different feel. It's quite nervous actually. Now I feel when I put people on spot actually, when I interview them and how they would feel. So I have that feeling. So I apologize for everybody else if I've done that.
You're doing amazing.
It's I was just part of my job.
You're doing amazing, which is why yesterday I emailed you and I said to you, we're just gonna free flow.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's most of my interviews, even for work, has been like that. Being structured sometimes really
boxes you away.
Yeah, it sways you away from, especially when I do features, like the feature I did about your Orana podcast. It was just off the cuff. Like I just didn't want to know all the things about really your new project, but I really wanted to know about you, and then from there we were able to switch to okay, what now? And so once you know about a person and about their life or their story, and then switching to what they're doing, it makes it easier. There's a connection that you can easily feel, and it's easy for us to write. And I think for readers, it's easy to connect when we put the human into the story.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and
humanize.
It's humanize the stories, and I think stories these days, and we see that on Facebook. So when we put a story about Cook Islanders achieving high somewhere, doing well, or put a story with a human angle where people are being celebrated. It has like 50,000 reach. It has like hundreds of shares. It has hundreds of likes and hundreds of comments. So we know as Cook Islanders, there are a lot of Cook Islanders people who actually love those kind of stories, and I think that is our focus, trying to tell story in the most human way possible, where people can feel that connection, and I think we are able to pass the message that the whole story has through that. So it's not easy sometimes. It's especially when it's hard to get people to open up to you, and fair enough, nobody would be willing to open up to you in first meeting. So I think there's that connection a reporter has to build with the person within that split seconds or within that short time of meeting. Apart from that, of course, we have like hard-hitting stories, like you have crimes, and you have politics, and you have economics, tourism, and business, and other stuff, which has a different way of writing, which has a different appeal, I guess.
How big is your team at Cook Islands News?
Yeah, so we have a team of, at the moment, so we got 3 reporters working on daily producing news, and it's me, and I got an online editor who looks after online platforms, looks after subscription issues, and also looks after social media platforms, and every now and then also jumps in and helps in writing stories. So in total, including me, we have 5. And then we have 3 people in production who do layout and designing of the papers, and then we have 2 people in the print who does the print job. They come in the afternoon. We got proofreaders who do part-time jobs, who come in the evening to just look through the finished copy, just to see if there's any grammatical error or spelling errors, basically. And then we have front office staff of accounts and managers and advertising team. So in total, I think there's 20 staff. It's quite a substantial amount.
You always feel very welcome when you come there, Rashneel, just from letting you know some feedback from me, like when you walk in to the front, to reception, and you say, could you please ask, say, Melina, if I can have 5 minutes? This is me. Or could you please ask Rashneel if I can have 5 minutes? And because we are that community,
yes,
you you always come out.
Right.
You know, we never get this, hey, I'm really busy. You always come out because, yeah, I mean, most places you have to make that appointment,
Right. Right.
which is totally understandable in bigger places.
Mhm.
But because I might come in like once a year, like I did the other day, and just say, can you please ask Rashneel? I know it's this time. I know he'll be like, got his head into getting the paper. And you came out and I said, thank you so much. I just want to show you this, please. I've, released this new website, please. It's just that because you broke the story. You're just you're all approachable is what I mean. You're all approachable there.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, I guess it's a compliment. And I think the first thing about being reporters or journalists is, and working in a newspaper, you have to have that sort of character that, people can approach to you without any hesitation. And you are able to easily, like, have to make time for people, like, I mean, we are busy too. We got a job to do. We got on timelines, deadlines and stuff, but other people are also on deadlines, and we have to respect if somebody has made an effort to come all the way to the newsroom or made an effort to give you a call. It's We have to accept the call and we have to be courteous and we have to show that we respect you, and actually we genuinely do. It's just not like something that we just do it because it's our job. We actually genuinely mean that, and I think because in a way, we look ourselves as we work for people, we work for public. We do this because we don't want to know about this thing. We don't want to personally know about it. We want to do it because we want people to know about it. And that is our reason. And I think something that most people probably don't understand in terms of why we are doing this, article. Sometimes when I remember recently, and I wouldn't say names, but I guess during elections time, there are certain organization that we kept calling for updates and stuff, and they were like, oh, why you people are always after this and that, always like, can't you just wait and stuff and this and this? And I said, look, man, like, our job is to get the information out to the public, and because next day a person picks the paper up and they don't see what they expect to see, we have failed in our job. And in a newspaper business, we are a day behind. So we're not like television that happens on the same day. We're not like radio that happens on the same hour, or online that happens in the same second or minute. We are there behind. So we have to be in front in terms of our news coverage. That's why when news is about being new and fresh, so we have to be in front to remain fresh and new and news. So I guess the hallmark of our job is to be approachable, and we enjoy it being who we are. But I think it also has disadvantages too, like, because of the small community, when you know people so well, it's not easy to do stories. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why, especially when it comes to stories where a person is being prosecuted, and that person, and a person in politics, there's a story against him or her, or many other issues where there's a story that would be not in favor of person, but that person very well.
Yeah.
So we have to put that aside.
You're gonna drive past them.
Yeah, you're gonna look at them every day. I mean, I get some angry looks every now and then, but the good thing about the people I know and the people I'm friends with, who actually I have sometimes and many times written against in a way that would feel like the story is against them, they're very understandable. They know that it's my job, and I have to be fair on them too. So I give them chance to respond to it. So it's just not I run the story without, or maybe the reporters run the story without approaching them. We also give them opportunities for them to have a say. So the story is balanced. So everybody has a say, and we let people decide who they think they should take. We shouldn't do the job for people. We shouldn't become the jury or the judge and make a decision or say that, okay, I think this person is wrong in the situation. If there is a story like that, we put the facts out there. We put it in a structured way, and we let people decide for themselves whether, okay, this policy is correct, or this person is right, or that person is wrong. So I've been fortunate, and I think as most of our reporters have been fortunate to have very understanding people who actually work at quite high places, who understand our job, and they don't take it too hard what we do, obviously. And I think they improve. Like if they feel that there is something lacking in them, and we have highlighted it through somebody else.
Definitely.
Yeah, so they work on it, and I think that's the beauty about Kukalaners. It's not many people would actually be nice, and I think that's the reason why I've stayed here 7 years. It's been a long
7
time.
years. How did you end up here, Rashneel?
It's a very interesting story in itself. I mean, I first came here in 2009. So Cook Islands hosted the Pacific Mini Games. I think it was the first. I'm not too sure, but it was in 2009, and John Woods, who was that time the managing editor, publisher and editor of the newspaper, he requested University of the South Pacific, Suva, the main campus, to ask or send one of a reporter or like a young person who's studying journalism, who does sports and would like to come for an attachment. So my lecturer, Dr. Shailendra Singh, actually, I've mentioned him, he very nicely, and I'm so thankful for him for actually sending me over. That was my first trip out of the country, 2009, and I came here. And I think there was this connection straight away. I just like, man, this is a beautiful place, especially motorbikes. We don't see motorbikes back home, like in Fiji, it's not like that. It was amazing, riding on the bike, and just going to places and covering things and just having that vibe, that island-friendly vibe. And I stayed here for a week and a half, I think, and I went back, continued my studies, and I finished my uni, and then I joined Fiji Times, which is one of the largest newspapers in the Pacific, and worked there for 5 years as a sports journalist. And then in 2015, out of nowhere, John would send me a message and say, hey, we are keen to actually get you over. Are you keen to come and work for us? And that's where it all started from. And I said, yeah, well, I think I'll give it a try. And actually, initially, I used it as a way to actually get more money out of the company from Fiji Times, where I used to work. So I was like, hey, I need a bit of an increment, I mean, I got this offer, and I thought they were thinking that I was just kidding, maybe, or they knew that I had a connection to Palace News, and they were like, hey, you stay here, we're gonna give you a couple of overseas trips and all. I said, yeah, but I need more money. So yeah, so I just I took the challenge. It was a huge undertaking, coming out of alone, especially coming out of Fiji into a sort of like a new place, so to speak, and staying on your own, ironing your own clothes in the morning, cooking your own food, and
And no
washing your own clothes.
family.
No family.
Don't know
I
anyone.
didn't know anyone apart from
Yeah.
like the people in the office, and just within a week, two, and within 1 year, I think I probably knew most of Rarotonga. People knew me anyway. Like I did some very controversial stories. I guess fair stories, but people see it as controversial. But I guess look, I came here to do a job, and I didn't know people that well. I think that helped me to actually start off like
And have that sort of distance of
Yeah.
this is just a job.
It's
I'm
just a job, and personally, I'm not like that. I'm a very nice person, and you can vouch for it. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I
But
can.
I just look. It's part of the job, and I think we have to be faithful to our job. And if we are not, then we probably shouldn't be doing what we do. And that's what I keep telling everybody in the office, and I think everybody lives by the policy, and since 2015, I've been here. It's been a challenge. I started as a junior reporter, as a was called, I think, general reporter, which was like a junior role. So in 2015, I started off from there and slowly climbed my way up to where I am now. It's been quite a journey,
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful.
And how long
honestly.
you been editor now of Cook Islands News?
I would be.
Was it a year?
It's over a year, so it's coming. It's approaching 2 years. So I think end of this month is 2 years. So yeah. It's approaching 2
Congratulations.
years. It's been 2 years. Been long. It went so fast, to be honest. It seems like it was yesterday when I took the role, because I haven't really had a time to relax after that. It's been
Hit the
just
ground running is what you're saying,
hit
right?
the ground running, and I'm still running. And, yeah, so I would love to get a break maybe here now and then. But look, everyone
Well, you
else
were
is-
talking before, Rashneel, just
Yeah.
when you came in and we didn't have the microphone on. Fiji's invited you for something?
Oh no, so we do get trips every now and then to go and attend conferences and events. There is one coming up in Fiji, and there is a couple others coming up. So the issue with, I think, we get a lot of advice like that, which is great for development of journalists, and it's also good for someone locally would want to become journalist, for them to know that there is a lot of opportunities in this field. There is a lot of opportunities. You can travel a lot of places. You can actually go and build a lot of connections that can help you in different areas. So it does. It comes with, they call it the pecs of the job. You know, like
The packs,
the pecs.
picks,
Yeah, the job. Yeah. So it
PEX or PECK, like your picks. Apex, like picks, or picks.
Perks of the job.
Perks.
Of the job.
PRKS. PRKS. Yes, perks of the job.
Perks
Got
of
it.
the job, yeah. And I think it's part and parcel of that. So there's obviously you need a bit of patience. You need to have a lot of passion for this. So yeah, so the Fiji one is supposed to be next week. It's a climate change.
Climate change.
And then I'm still waiting for arrangements. And I think with COVID and all those things, it has made travel difficult. So it's not easy to sort of like, especially going out of Raro, because our only way out is to New Zealand. So it makes it even harder for us. And now with the borders open and travel sort of resuming and getting back to normal, so there are a lot of other opportunities like that. If you see, like
Fiji's not Fiji. Tahiti's just opened up.
Tahiti's opened up. Actually, I was in the flight, the first flight.
Lucky you.
Yeah,
Was that another perk?
No, I think it was this job. It was purely job actually.
So you're just saying you're on that first flight recently to Tahiti and come back.
So
It was only like what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago, just over a week.
The Prime Minister was on that one, wasn't he?
Prime Minister was on that one, and there was quite a high delegation that went. The Pairu Heman, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, she was there, and we also had Ewan Smith from Raro, and we had Anand, who is the Chief Financial Officer from Raro, and also Kala from
LC Cook Islands Tourism.
Yeah. So they held several meetings. It was just we arrived there on Saturday. We left here on Saturday. There was quite a ceremony happened here before leaving at Rarotonga. There was a function at the VIP lounge, and then we boarded on the plane. Wonderful ride, 2.5 to about 3 hours ride, and then we reached there. We were welcomed by the president of Tahiti, and there was a delegation here. So we had some performances there, and then they went to Hilton, the delegation, the government delegation, where they had meetings and stuff with the president of Tahiti, French Polynesia, sorry. And then we stayed one night. I did take a bit of time to explore Tahiti, Papete, because otherwise it would have been a waste for me to go there. And enjoy it. It's a nice vibe there. Things are expensive. And we flew back next day. So it was maybe a 24 hours trip. So one thing about it is I can actually go around and say, somebody asks me where was the shortest time you spent, in a visit. I say, hey, I did 24 hours. That's
24 hours in Tahiti.
Yeah, 24 hours. I mean, amazing time. And I did an article in Saturday's paper where I explained basically the reasons behind the flight.
Can you tell us, please?
Yeah, so I think the headline was connecting people, places, and possibilities. So it was more about explaining why this route is important. So I guess most of the people would be aware, especially I think your listeners from the Northern America and European markets, that our LA direct flight has stopped. It's not operating anymore, and New Zealand has pulled the plug on that. And we don't know when it will start. That flight was subsidized by government, and it is to bring the high spending and long staying European and North American tourists. So that has virtually stopped. Coming through New Zealand is not easy. It's actually expensive. But then there is a route through Tahiti. What Tahiti does is they have several airlines that provides the connection from LA and Seattle and from other places and from Paris that can bring the European and North American markets, and it's a huge possibility for us. The issue with Tahiti is they are at full capacity at the moment, and it's not for cheap people who don't want to spend a lot of money. Like, for example, there's about 80% of the tourists that come to French Polynesia, the country, they go to Bora Bora. And Bora Bora, you won't find a place below maybe $1,000 or something, but it's very expensive. So people who come there, they are high-end tourists. All of them, majority of them are high-end tourists. and they are willing to pay premium prices on the airlines. They travel 40-50% of that. They pay the whole flight basically. So they pay about 3 to 5 grand return airfares. So the others they come there because there is a capacity for it. They can come to Tahiti and they can catch a connecting flight for almost same price that they would pay to go to Bora Bora, but then spend less when they're here in Rarotonga.
Mhm.
So there's a market out there. I guess the onus is on Cook Islands Tourism and the relevant agencies to promote it like that, and I guess bring back the loyal, North American and European tourists that would love to come back and who have been. I see them complaining about it every day on our stories we do about airlines on Facebook. I mean, this is an opportunity. I guess post pandemic, everything has gone up. Airlines, due to, of course, reasons, with the war in Ukraine and stuff. Yeah, fuel prices and everything's gone up. So it has obviously affected the prices of the airline. But people have to understand, and tourists have to understand that travel is not easy. It has become a luxury now. So you have to spend a little bit more to come to your favorite place on Earth, which is Cook Islands.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that in the front page today. Inflation crisis, big line there.
Yeah,
Spike in
yeah.
fuel prices, making commodities and services.
That's clear.
Yeah.
I think the remoteness. I think this is the story is more about a report from the Asian Development Bank, which says our remoteness, Pacific's remoteness, which includes us, actually drives the prices high because the fuel prices goes up, everything else technically goes up. So now because when the fuel prices go up, your cargo prices go up, shipping cost goes up. So if the shipping cost goes up, it goes to the wholesalers, then wholesalers pass it to the retailers, to the consumers. So it has that sort of web, and I guess inflation is, of course, has increased here as well to 4.2%, if I'm correct, and it's expected to increase it around to 4 to 4.5% in the coming year. So uh, things will not, be cheaper. It's just the world we live in.
I'm noticing it
Yeah,
in the
and
shops.
exactly. You go out there, and I've seen it too. Like things are, getting. I mean, we just had a major crisis, which is actually a fun story. When Alan ran out of fries, and then one place was selling it for $7. And I guess, look, I mean, when the demand is so high and there is a less supply, it's just a simple economics. This is how it works. But I guess I think in short term, what you call this? Our only hope is tourism, because we need numbers. I'll speak probably. I'm speaking on behalf. I speak like a tourism rep now, but I guess
It's okay.
observing it from.
Thank you. I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
so much for sharing.
Yeah, observing it
And
from
I'm
a
sure our
neutral
listeners
ground.
are.
Yeah, observing from neutral ground as a newspaper editor, I see that the importance of tourism in the short term. Obviously, that there's a need for diversification, which people have been calling, but to help recover the economy now, diversification is a long shot because you can't just build a new industry
Yeah.
in a day.
Yeah.
So it will take time. So I think the emphasis and focus on tourism would be is where to go, and I think that's where the government agencies are focusing on. They had a global breakfast update yesterday.
Yes.
Tourism, where I think the operators were given an update on how the market is looking. I think the projections are looking good according to.
Can you remember any of those stats from
Yeah, so
yesterday to share with us,
yeah,
please?
so there's an article
Thank you.
that is in today's paper. Some comments from the Cook Islands
80,
Tourism
yeah.
New Zealand and Australasia manager Graham West, who made a projections that by March next year we would have 80,000 visitors. Which is not a bad number because remember we are hitting our low season, shoulder to low season. Heading into
Our summer.
Yeah, our summer. Which doesn't normally get a lot of
Visitors
visitors,
anyway.
and especially from New Zealand market, which
Yeah.
is our biggest market.
Yeah.
And this is where we rely
On the Canadians and the
Exactly.
Americans and the English, and because it's cold for them
Perfect. And this is where
and
we
their
hope,
country.
in their country, and this is where we hope the Tahiti flight will come in handy.
Yeah.
With the Tahiti flight.
Yeah.
So projections, I believe, given the circumstances and lack of airline services, is looking pretty decent and pretty good. And I guess it will hopefully it will keep people in business and keep people going on earning money and surviving, I guess, and riding through these times, I guess, tough times.
Thank you so much, Rashneel. It's been great.
I appreciate it. Thank you
I
very
look
much.
forward to the next time we sit down and update everybody.
I really appreciate your time, and it's been an honor to be. I guess that's what people have been saying. If you don't come to Kerala podcast, shouldn't be taken seriously. So I guess from now on.
Is that what they've been saying?
Yeah, I guess so. So thank you very much. I really appreciate.
Well, it goes both ways. We can talk about that humane sort of connection between you and I, because when I came to the newspaper in 2020, I remember it was cold because I had a long sleeve on.
Yeah.
So it would have been now in
Would have been
2020.
now, yeah,
It would have been like now. So it would have been after May, June, July, August, say 4 months after starting Orana podcast.
Right.
And after 4 months of me sort of going around Raro, and I didn't realize that I wasn't like bringing a new ice cream flavor.
Right.
I was bringing the machine.
Exactly.
The ice cream machine, right? And that's why I came to you and I said, I really need some help because I've sort of been out like in 4 months now 400 times.
Right.
And it's because they don't know what a podcast is. It's brand new. There's this fear of what is it? And so that's why I came to the newspaper at the time. And then you helped with that great story. And then it kind of let like a lot of people know that it is a thing.
Right.
And then, a year later, this show's been difficult to keep afloat as well.
It's not easy.
Rashneel, this show, like the 11 platforms that Hayden and I pay for, the time and the energy that you would know of interviewing, researching,
exactly,
putting it up digitally. And then I had a choice. I either kept doing it or stopped, right? And then I kept doing it.
No, heads up to you for your resilience.
And I kept doing it, meaning everyone, say in the last 2.5 years, Hayden and I have been doing this, right? The Orana podcast. We've generated, I think, like, say, $15,000 to do this project in 2 years. That's
Wow.
$7,000 of revenue we've been able to sell advertising in this project, split between 2 people. So $3,500 a year that I have received to run this weekly show. And so, but I guess
just like us, it's about a labor of love.
It is. And I used to sit there and go, hey, Chantal, you know what? Go find a real job. Hey, Chantal, go and, you seriously need to go and get a proper job, right? But then when I go back and listen to, like now I'm at 96 episodes, Rashneel, just like yourself. So many amazing people that I have sat with and like Lady Masters, the Prime Minister, Mark Brown, yourself, Maiki Tangaro, Fiona Broadbent, the photographer, Tokiro Jim, property, Boba, Matapuya, Fletcher Melvin, Dan Forsyth at Prime Foods, Philip Knott down on the beach, Captain Brendan, Nicholas Dawnbreaker. I learn something every week, and then because I have it digitally, I can go back and listen to it, and I miss something the first time. And then what I've been saying in the last sort of few months to visitors, because they're asking me so many questions, right? Visitors, right? Because I'm concierge. And I'm like, actually, episode 42, I interviewed that person.
It's right there.
Episode 56, I recorded. Episode, so-and-so, I interviewed. And do you know what I learned from Lady Masters? And they're like, what? I said, this is just an example. If you have an orange, and you get 2 seeds from that same orange, and you plant 1 seed in the west of Rarotonga and 1 seed in the east of Rarotonga, they do not taste the same because of the soil.
interesting. I didn't know that.
Because Lady Masters, when she was very young, was a lab technician with soil. And so if I wasn't doing this podcast, I wouldn't have just stuff like that. So I learned so much about all of us, and I like it. So like you said, just keep doing the passion.
All about the love for the job, I guess, and good stuff. Keep it up.
Thank you. After this, we're going to talk about my new website, but
I see that.
We're going to talk about my new website, everyone, right? Which Rashneel is going to do another breaking story about it all. And I'm appreciative to CI News and to Rashneel Kumar today for his time. Stay with us all, keep listening, KiaOranapodcast.com, otherwise chantalsconcierge.com, and Rashneel did say to you about cookislandsnews.com, the website for them. Stay safe, everybody. Kia ora, may you live long. Airera, farewell. Kia manuia. Good luck. Thank you.